All right, Craig. Bottom of the ninth. Reds lead by a wide margin. This is one of those shows where you don't say, if you do this long enough. I got to figure out this. I don't know if you've noticed, but every time I put my microphone up, it stayed that time. All right. You just have to talk smoke about it.
That's been kind of a problem for like 2 years now, I feel like. Tracy.
Well, all I really have to do is what looks like to go get like a T25 bit or something like that. And I think I could just probably turn that about a half of a notch there, and it would probably fix all of my problems. But anyway, I'm trying to get the game loaded up here on the old device. I don't know how many outs we got. 1 out?
Don't
no
bother.
Out?
Emilio
2 outs.
In bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. Brendan, you'll like this one, Trace. 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, 11-6. Reds leading. Mm-hmm. Brendan Donovan bunt single.
Nice. That's playing small ball right there. Craig, let me know when you see it.
All right. There it is. Herrera ground ball. Ellie flips it to McLean. Reds back in the winning column. It's been a while, Trace.
We're not losers. We're not losers anymore. How
about a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds?
That's right. All right, we'll be right back. We'll talk all about it and more.
And the bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done it. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in force rate. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds. Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Line to right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Does it have a chance? The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter.
right, it's been a while, but you know what? There's never a bad time for a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. That's what we got, Craig. And some are going to ask, is it too little, too late? You know what? As I said on last night's show, I mean, if they win out, I guarantee they make the playoffs. Now, are they going to win out? We all probably know the answer to that. Weird game tonight, honestly. Kind of a unique game. One in which the Reds don't typically win. Kind of a seesaw battle there for a minute, and then offense kind of took over on not the most, I guess, clean baseball game. It wasn't a pretty game, put it that way, in regards to just a clean, beautiful game is what some would call other games, not this one. But
not this
anyway, doesn't matter, really. At the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter. You win 11-6. Greg, and if nothing else, you gain, I guess, a little bit of ground when I think the Mets have an off day today.
They do indeed. I was beginning to wonder whether or not I was ever going to get to do another winning edition of Chatterbox Reds, Trace. It had been so long. I legitimately can't remember the last time I was on a show when the Reds won. So this must be the winning combination. Me and you.
Yeah.
We got a couple more shows this week. We're going to bring it home, Trace.
Yeah,
we're going to will the Reds all the way to the playoffs. It's just me and you, baby.
Well, I'll take all the credit for winning. I'm not going to take any of the credit for losing, because I got a strong suspicion that that's not over yet, but we'll find out here in relative short order, I'm sure. We have some super chats obviously on the way in here. We'll get to those in just a bit. Craig, if you're ready to do the Bosch score recap, we can do it. I can jump into supers. Let's do that. I'm going to jump into some supers real quick. We'll get those knocked out of the way, and then we'll obviously jump into the Bosch score recap presented by Craig in just a minute. Alex Binez Harris says, Tito's MO, wait 60-plus days to move cold hitters down. Yeah. It is funny that, that yesterday, I think, was the first time I kind of was just like, what are we doing? Like, at some point, you just finally make a move. And then, sure enough, I don't know if Tito's listened to the show. I highly doubt he does, based off of our gripes all year long and those seemingly never changing. But nonetheless, at least Ellie did move down the lineup. I don't know if it's going to help him or not, but at least it's just nice to see some semblance of change when you feel like you keep doing the same thing over and over again, Craig, and getting the same result. I know that the definition for that is insanity. So I'm wanting to know if that's just what we are, is insane. I know as Reds fans we might be, but yeah, well, I don't know.
I think I told you, Trace, but when I came up to do the show at Smoke Justice a couple of weeks ago, after the show at Smoke Justice, I went over to the game. I met up with a buddy of mine who works in the ticket office, and I think I sent you this text message. I sent you a screenshot of it, but if I didn't, I apologize. He texted me after I left his office, and someone in the front office, I don't know who, apparently came up to him afterwards and said, was that Craig Sandlin you were talking to? I listen to Chatterbox Reds every day. So somebody's listening, Trace. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be Tito.
I tell you, I do think that there's I mean, let's face it. How many shows really discuss in-depth games every single day like the way and manner we do? Probably not many. So I would strongly suspect there are times that probably people just peek in to see what's being said about certain situations, whether we're right or wrong. I think we have a decent pulse on the fan base. I know that, probably many people despise the takes that Nick or you or I have at times, and they agree with them half the time, but we're covering at some portion of the fan base every single time we have these takes. And let's face it, there's been many times where we've questioned, what exactly the plan is with Tito and the lineup and the overall managing of this roster at times. But, yeah, I don't know. But nice to see Ellie De La Cruz move down the lineup, to be honest. Yeah. Jacob Doyle says...
It should tell you a little bit about this game, the fact that I didn't put that on the rundown, even though we've been talking about it now for weeks on end. Didn't put it in the rundown. I'm sure we'll talk about it nonetheless.
Yeah, we'll find a way to get it in there. Jacob Doyle says, I'm telling you guys, it just sounds different off of Sal Stewart's bat, 2026 first baseman. Yeah, I guess here's where I'm at, and he's going to be the first guy that I'm going to keep a close eye on, because if somehow he starts to kind of just seemingly magically not have power or magically doesn't look the same guy over a certain amount of time, I am going to probably subscribe to the conspiracy theory of some hitting philosophy taking over the clubhouse and it becoming a huge problem, because he kind of reminds me of what some of the other guys looked like when they first came up here. They were just raw. They were maybe naive, didn't know any better, didn't realize how hard Major League Baseball probably is supposed to be, and they come up here and they have success. So hopefully Sal Stewart will continue to ride the notion. And I want to say this. I know we can maybe get off of too tangent here perhaps before the show starts, but I do want to bring up Sal Stewart, and like, he hits a ball over the fence, and again, I do think that there's philosophy that has just been absolutely hammered within the Reds organization. I like the Cowboy mostly, but he spent 4 minutes telling me about how he just thinks that Sal Stewart's going well because he's focused on hitting line drives. You don't know what the hell he's thinking about, okay? No one knows what these guys are thinking about. You don't know what the hell he's thinking about when he's trying to hit. I mean, let's be honest. Is Sal Stewart looking back? He said he's looking backside, hitting line drives, and he's, my favorite thing about his home run so far is he's hitting line drives over the fence. Who cares? Who cares? He's hitting the ball hard. He's hitting the ball hard, and it's going over the fence every so often. Why do we give a damn whether or not they're looking backside or they're hitting ground balls over there or there's a line drive through the middle? That stuff is just blasphemy anymore. I'm so tired of hearing about it. He's hitting the ball hard. That's all we should care about. I don't give a damn whether or not he's trying to hit ground balls or he's trying to hit it over the moon. It doesn't matter. We don't have to have some perfect philosophy while we're trying to hit. Can you hit or can you not? That's what the philosophy should be. That's it. I'm done with it. Can you hit or can you not? And if you can hit, we need you. But I don't give a damn if you're Gavin Lux and you have a great approach and you hit ground balls to the right side with a guy on second base. I'm over that. I need guys that can hit the ball hard. That pissed me off. It was like 4 minutes of lecturing me on how Sal Stewart and why he's hitting the ball hard and why he's playing so great. Golly. It's just mind-boggling why we always talk about it. Seriously.
919 OPS. That's all I really care about. 4 home runs and 37 at bats. I'll take it. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care how he's doing it, but I'll take it.
It's the same thing, and it's the same thing in I think it was Colorado or somewhere. I don't know where the hell it was. Colorado. Will Benson hit a fly ball literally to the warning track, and the Cowboy was like, "Ain't nobody hitting one out to center field today. Gonna have to change your approach. The wind's blowing in." And you know what? Two at bats later, Will Benson hit one over the fence in center field. It's like, newsflash, there's dudes in this league that are incredibly strong that can just hit the ball no matter where it's at over the fence. It doesn't matter. The whole wind thing and all that, forget about it. All right. Rant's over. The Reds won 11-6, by the way. I just want to remind everybody they did win. Even despite me yelling and screaming. And the people, there goes that child again. I don't really give a damn, okay? I'm tired of watching it. I've watched 100 and how many ever of these games. I'm over this whole notion of the way you should go about hitting, okay? How about we just find guys that can hit? And however they want to do it, they can do it. I you know what I'd love is if this is a magical moment. It will never happen. I would love for Kyle Schwarber to get signed. And they ask him, like, what his philosophy is. And it's just, like, something so like, it's just completely opposite of whatever they've been preaching. It's like, oh, well, I'm looking for one pitch in one spot, and I'm trying to hit it as far as humanly possible. Anyway.
I wish they would ask Sal that, and he would just say, no, I'm just trying to hit ground balls. Just trying to hit really hard ground balls. Just exactly what Chris Valleca preaches,
I don't know if it's Valleca.
It just happens to go out.
I don't know, but it's obviously morphed itself into the broadcast booth. I mean, we're talking about it. But anyway.
Speaking of rants, Trace, the chat is going wild on me because apparently my microphone's too low. You're going to get to a super chat about it, but just a heads up.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what I can do.
We gotta adjust it now. So.
Yeah, listen, I'll do it right now. Let me try to find your level, and I'll bump you up on. We'll see if that helps. I don't know. We'll find out as we go. Mike Dean said that he thought Tito abducted Stewart Starts, Ellie in 7-hole. He's thinking that Tito got abducted. Okay, I'm getting it now. Stewart starting, Ellie in 7-hole, Benson pitch hitting, then Littell left in too long, Pagan closing 5-run leads equals proof of Tito's life. Yeah, listen, I tell you, when they pinch hit Will Benson, I was like, wow, holy smokes. This guy's going to actually come up in a relatively seemingly meaningful spot in a baseball game, even though he's been one of their better hitters. And sure enough, Craig, he did his job. Super chats are getting us off track a little bit here. I know we'll recap all of this stuff as we get going. Ned Flanders says, how will Tito hold Sal Stewart accountable for those drop foul balls? Wind sprints may kill that kid. Mercy. Oh, come on, Ned. I must admit, when they panned the camera to Sal Stewart when he tagged up on Will Benson's fly ball, I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. That does not look like a very swift fella, you know? I mean, that's Sal Stewart. He loves him. He loves him some chicken Alfredo or something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen.
Some gabagool.
Whatever he's on, he's doing all right. He's eating well. That minor league money must have gotten a little bit better over the years. I don't know, but sure, he's having whatever Alfredo Duno's having. You know what I'm saying? Harrow, he's been a member for 23 months of Nutcutter Nation. Shout out Harrow. He said, I don't think any of those other small mid-market teams have a daily viewership on Postgame podcast comparable to you guys. Maybe, because I don't know if there's anyone crazy enough to take a mid-market baseball team and do a daily show like we do, because it's just absolutely heartbreaking most times than not. But you know what? We're here, and one day, I'll tell you, one day, it's all going to pay off, I think. One of two things is going to happen. Either everyone stops covering the Reds because they're no longer good enough and we'll be the only ones left, or they're going to finally win. And when they finally win, it's going to maybe be even that much sweeter. I do have a fear, though, Craig, that when we finally do, and I say hopefully, I mean, you never do know. We can always die before it happens. When they do get over the hump, and let's just say they win a postseason series. I'm not even going to go so far to say a World Series. Let's just say they win a postseason series. I almost feel like I'm going to have more like a relief of stress than I'll be excited. It's almost going to be like, thank you, versus like actual joy. I'm a little worried about that.
I mean, you weren't a Bengals fan, so I guess it's probably a little different for you. But a very similar experience for me. The huge interception at the end of that Raiders game was almost like you immediately had this giant weight lifted off of your shoulders, and obviously it propelled them into a Super Bowl appearance. I wouldn't be shocked if the Reds do something similar if they're able to win a series. Again, we talk about how good the starting pitching can be. If they can win a series, they can definitely make a run. And I think that weight off of their shoulders would definitely go a long way in terms of trying to advance. So, yeah, I'm with you. I definitely just deep sigh of relief once it happens, and then try and go back the next series and keep going.
Molly, member for 20 months. Shout out to Molly, Nutcutter Nation. She says, turn your mic up, Craig. Listen, I did turn it up. This is the moment where you go back to chat and you try to figure out whether or not Craig's microphone has reached the level of what's the right word to use here? Have reached the level of satisfaction within the chat community. Hopefully it has. If it hasn't, I'll continue to turn it up. But you need to be honest with me, because we do have a podcast afterwards, and we need the levels to be somewhat normal. Somewhat normal. So we shall find out. Anything
Mike Hart
else
with
to
a
add,
nice
Craig?
little Yeah, Mike Hart with a nice little tidbit. Sal Stewart, 10th percentile in sprint speed as he was tagging up. So I do have one more bit of news unrelated to today's game before we get started for the chat. 4:25 p.m. this afternoon, Oliver Ray Kirby officially welcomed to the world. So congratulations to Nick and Andrea and the rest of their family on the newest edition. Heard this one took a little bit longer than the first three kids, but nonetheless, Oliver Ray Kirby here, healthy. Everybody's healthy and happy. So, Nick, if you're watching, we love you. Congratulations. And if you're not, well, we still love you.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. Based off the text messages, he seems to be in good spirits. We'll sign out just in case Andrea's watching. He's enjoying his time in the hospital, it seems. I even said that the couches you typically sleep on aren't the best, and he even said, you know what? These couches aren't that bad. So shout out to Nick. I'm sure he'll be, how he is. He'll be trying to figure out a way to work here in the next few days when he shouldn't be, but we'll be excited to have Nick back when he's here, and hopefully the Reds will win like 6, 7, 8 games in a row, and then all of a sudden we'll be right back in the playoff hunt once again. All right, folks, we have gone off the rails here a little bit to start the show, but that's just what makes Chatterbox Reds go sometimes, and that's part of it. Box Score Recap presented by Craig Sandlin. Craig, you can take it away, my friend.
Let's do it. After being swept by the Athletics, the Reds head down the final stretch of the season with their last 13 games against division opponents. Up first, the St. Louis Cardinals on Monday night. Matthew Liberatore got the ball for the Birds while the Reds handed it to Zack Littell. Sal Stewart continued to hit the cover off the ball. He got the Reds on the board in the second inning with a solo home run off the facade on the third deck of Busch Stadium. The Cardinals answered in the bottom of the second after Wilson Contreras doubled to lead off the inning. Nolan Arenado singled him home in his first at-bat in 40 games. The Reds took the lead back in the third. Miguel Andujar hit a single to center field. Victor Scott misplayed the ball, allowing Matt McLain and Noelvi Marte to score uncontested from second and first for a 3-1 Reds lead. Littell had sat down 12 straight Cardinals before Brendan Donovan singled in the sixth. Littell then hit Ivan Herrera before allowing a game-tying double to Alec Burleson. Contreras followed with a single, giving the Cards a 4-3 lead and knocking Littell out of the game. Graham Ashcraft would retire Lars Nootbaar. Littell's final line, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Reds didn't allow the Cards to lead for long. Tyler Stevenson singled off St. Louis reliever Chris Rowcroft, and Ellie De La Cruz worked a walk. Matt McLain then drove both home with a ground rule double to right center for a 5-4 Reds lead. TJ Friedel then extended the lead with a single up the middle. After allowing the first 2 runners in the seventh to reach, Graham Ashcraft struck out 2 straight before an RBI single from Brendan Donovan. Francona turned to Tony Santillan, who allowed a single by Ivan Herrera to tie the game at 6-all. Reds loaded the bases in the top of the eighth thanks to 2 walks by Ryan Fernandez, but could only score 1 on a Will Benson sac fly. Reds take the lead 7-6. Connor Phillips worked a perfect 8th inning, striking out 2. Reds would then load the bases again in the 9th, but this time they'd capitalize a lot more. Sal Stewart hit a single that ricocheted off the Cardinals pitcher, scoring Friedel. Then Tyler Stevenson cleared the bases with a 3-run double to left center, making it 11-6 Reds. Emilio Pagan allowed just a bunt single in the 9th, and the Reds got back in the win column. 11-6 is your final. Reds now back at 500, 75-75. They sit, as of right now, 2 games back of the New York Mets.
All right, and thankfully, we do have a deep drive of the day. That line drive home run, baby. Sal Stewart's 4th on the year. That's his 4th home run. He's been up here for like 4 days. Who would have thunk it? 112 miles an hour off the bat, 417 feet. Win probability for your Cincinnati Reds would jump up 11% all the way to 58.8, and as we all know, it would wind up being 100. And DSC, they are 100% a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. All right, we are on our way in a baseball game in which I said it was a little unique. And maybe some of the uniqueness, Craig, was the offensive explosion. I think there's no doubt that the Cardinals certainly propelled or allowed the Reds to kind of get a little momentum there with the misplay on the Andujar single. But other than that, they did scrape, they scraped across some runs. And let's face it, Tyler Stevenson's basically, I don't know if it was bases clearing, maybe it was bases clearing double, was a huge part of kind of like, breaking the game open and making you feel like, all right, we kind of got this in a good spot now. Despite maybe how Tito felt or not, it was a good opportunity to at least pick up your teammates, in my opinion, on the Santillan outing that we can talk about here in a little bit. But it just kind of felt like there was an opportunity for this game, let's face it, to go south or sideways. And they did a good job of responding. And that was nice to see, even though I know it was against the St. Louis Cardinals and, they got like 10 people in the stands.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those games where in the past you would have felt like the Reds were going to collapse and just give up the lead and then lose the ball game and maybe even losing it by multiple runs. But instead, 8 runs in the final 3 innings, Trace. I don't know that I can remember the last time they did that. It does feel a little interesting that the middle innings, at least anecdotally, feel like they almost always slump during them. But for some reason, the first couple innings and the last couple innings, they seem to always find a way to push runs across the board. And it's interesting because that's not necessarily reflected in their stats according to Baseball Reference. But yet here we are, every single oh my God, Jay Tinzel, every game it feels like this Reds team just has an opportunity to claw and scratch. And most of the time they don't make it happen. Most of the times they kind of wilt away and crumble. And then tonight, luckily, they were able to battle back. The game, like you said, back and forth a little bit. The Cardinals trailed and then came back, and then the Reds took the lead back, and then the Cardinals tied it up, and then the Cardinals took the lead, and then the Reds took the lead, and it just back and forth. And finally that 9th inning kind of broke it open. As you mentioned, Tyler Stevenson with that huge triple that, nice to see him. It feels like since he came back from the IL that he's been hitting the ball pretty well. Quite frankly, he was somebody that I was a little worried about for a while there. It felt like he wasn't really doing much of anything at the plate. But of late, it certainly feels like he's turned a corner a little bit. And, over his, the course of the year, I would have loved to see Tyler Stevenson be a little bit more effective offensively, but nice for him to step up when it mattered and bring home those insurance runs and give the Reds the big lead.
I mean, he's not, Stevenson's, let's face it, he's probably not had the year that we were all hoping for, but, I don't, you can sit here and paint a picture with stats however you wish, right? The strikeouts, but what's funny is I really don't want to complain about the strikeouts because I feel like if you start complaining about the strikeouts, then you get into this notion that strikeouts are horrible. And I think we've kind of gone a little bit overboard with the idea that, we don't want these guys striking out at all. Having said that, Tyler Stevenson strikes out a lot. He's striking out a lot. But you know what? As I said before, I'm going to keep it positive with Tyler Stevenson on a night like tonight. He got a big hit. Let's focus on the positives. And you know what? He's a guy that if he's capable, and again, we do this all the time with a lot of these players, if he's capable of getting red hot, he's got the potential to do it. And he's done it before. And whether or not he's capable of doing it the last 2 weeks of the season and the Reds can get on some kind of absolute heater, we shall find out. But there's no doubt that Tyler Stevenson had a big hit tonight, and I also said there's no doubt that there's some semblance of concern for what he looks like next year as he tries to progress into another year, whether that's health related or perhaps that's also a guy at the plate that can help you. And the ABS system probably can't get here fast enough for a guy like Tyler Stevenson because he just has a hard time kind of like sticking pitches around the corners of the zone. And I think it cost him a couple pitches tonight. And one of them was a big pitch for a strikeout, I think, with Santillan, and he didn't get it. And again, Santillan, I get it. He hit the corner, and ABS, it would have been a strikeout, but he didn't get the call. And then all of a sudden, I don't want to say the wheels completely fell off on Santillan, but he gave up some big hits. Let's not act like he didn't. So we'll get to that maybe in just a minute with the bullpen. But moving forward into the staff while we're talking about pitching, Littell on a night like tonight had to at least, if nothing else, be good enough to give your team a chance to win. I don't think he was great, but I also think he was more than good enough to make it feel like you weren't going to sit there and have to try to run out some long reliever early in the game. And overall, since he's come over, Craig, I feel like he's done what any reasonable Reds fan can ask of him. He's not been unbelievable, but he's not been horrific either, and he's filled a little bit of a hole here as we've had guys missing in the starting rotation.
Up until that 6th inning, I thought that this was one of Zack Littell's better games that he's had with the Reds. I'm not going to sit here and act like I watched a whole lot of Zack Littell when he was with the Rays, so I don't know exactly what he did back before then. But, you you go all the way back to his first outing with the Reds against the Cubs when he went 7 innings of 3-hit baseball, gave up 1 run. I felt like he was kind of back in that groove a little bit. His last 2 starts now, he went 6 innings against San Diego, gave up 2 hits on 2 runs. And then tonight I felt like he was pitching really well. He had retired 12 straight, including the first 2 in the 6th inning. And then the wheels just kind of fell off quick. And I don't know if that's because it was the 3rd time through the lineup and it was the 3rd time that these guys were seeing him, but he got 8 batter out to start the 6th, and then you turn the lineup over and you get to that 3rd time through and single, hit by pitch, double, single, and all of a sudden the wheels were falling off before Tito even had a chance to get someone up and warming. And so it goes back to some of the conversations that had happened right when the trade happened for Littell, of his ability to either be a starter or kind of that length reliever out of the bullpen, similar to a Nick Martinez, where if he can only go twice through the lineup, then maybe he is just as good for you out of the bullpen than as he is out of the starting rotation. Or it could just be that Tito needs to know that, hey, whenever we're about to get to this 3rd time through the lineup, I need to be ready. I need to have a guy up and warming, because once we get back to the top of the lineup for that 3rd time, odds are that I might need to go to the bullpen. And it's much better if I'm ready for that versus having to go 4 batters for Littell, and before you know it, they're scoring 3 runs and this game's kind of, getting squirrely a little bit.
I think he would have gotten pulled earlier in the 6th inning if he didn't get 2 outs immediately in the inning. That's kind of where I feel like Tito got caught between a rock and a hard place a little bit, because he felt like he was rolling, as you mentioned. He got 2 outs. You're thinking, all right, well, here comes. It almost felt like here comes another, maybe 1, 2, 3 inning. You give up a single. The hit by pitch kind of causes a little bit of start to get in a little bit of drama. And then obviously, I think it was Burleson who doubled. Looking it up now, Burleson doubled to tie the game, and then obviously Contreras singled to give them the lead, and then obviously they went to Ashcraft from there. The crazy thing is like, I don't know how big of a deal to make of this, but one thing I do have a little bit of concern is how easily we gave up some bags in some critical spots. Like, we just let guys steal second base without even like it almost looked like we were up 5 runs in the last inning and we were just having a defensive indifference. We didn't care. Those were critical moments in a game where you're just allowing a guy to get in it. They weren't even like great runners either. We're talking like, again, I'm not saying they're the Sal Stewart level of a runner, but they're probably pretty close. And that's, again, I'm picking on a guy that I like. So just to be clear, I like Sal Stewart, but just not the most swift of feet. Having said that, that was my main concern, I guess, to a certain extent there for a minute. And then, I don't know. It's always easy to second guess in hindsight here, Craig, with the bullpen. But they had an opportunity to leave Ashcraft in against yet another left-handed hitter. He has this weird situation where he has reverse splits, Craig. We know this. We've talked about it. In fact, the Cowboy and I thought Sadak kind of had a good little banter back and forth just about how maybe why some managers don't, want to do that, or why. Because the Cardinals had an opportunity to pinch hit with, I think it was 1st and 3rd with nobody out. And they didn't. They decided not to do that because there was a left-hander up. And the Cowboy was suggesting that no manager in the major leagues in their right mind would want to pitch hit when you have a left-handed hitter coming to the plate and a right-handed pitcher on the mound. But my thought on that is like, and that goes into a whole nother subject matter that I don't know if we want to go into, Craig, but it's just like, are we admitting, like the Cowboys just admitting that just, I guess, kind of like grandfathered in unwritten rules of baseball are trumping pure, clear, obvious data that we have because we're embarrassed or we might be scared to say that's the right move or not the right move? Like, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm thankful that the Cardinals decided not to pinch hit in that spot, and they allowed Ashcraft to face 2 left-handed hitters. He struck them both out. But I guess my question, Craig, is then we counter by not letting him face the 3rd left-handed hitter. And Santillan comes in and he gives up a hit, and he gives up another hit, and again, you lose the lead. But it just seems like, I don't know, like maybe we are all living in like this crazy loony land where we think to ourselves that you don't have to like fall in love and marry the data, but you just watch 2 guys strike out relatively easily against Graham Ashcraft, who are both left-handed hitters, You have yet another one coming to the plate. What made him think that I just don't understand why he was like, we got to get Ashcraft out of there now. I don't know. Maybe. But again, it doesn't matter. Reds win, I guess, so you can't question all the decisions. But I thought it was a little interesting, if nothing else, Craig.
He took him out before Ivan Herrera. Is that right?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I
don't remember
fast.
So he struck out Jimmy Crooks, and then struck out Victor Scott, and then he faced Brendan Donovan. Brendan Donovan's a lefty. Brendan Donovan is hitting 500 against Graham Ashcraft in his career coming into today, 4 for 8 with a double. So the fact that he let him face Brendan Donovan is interesting. Graham Ashcraft has never faced Ivan Herrera. So if my notes are correct here, and he faced Brendan Donovan but not Ivan Herrera, that definitely doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now,
no,
Graham Ashcraft doesn't have a whole lot of.
He did not face Brendan Donovan. He's basically struck out the Jimmy Crooks kid. Jimmy Crooks was the kid that they were suggesting probably should have got pinch hit for in a spot like that, because there was, again, I believe it was first and third with nobody out. Jimmy Crooks strikes out. Victor Scott II comes up. He strikes out. You have 2 outs in the inning, and then you have Brendan Donovan coming up. So that's probably why they made the choice to take him out, because he was 4 for 8 against him in his career. They decided to go to Santillan. Santillan gives up a line drive single by Donovan. That makes the score 6-5, and then Ivan Herrera gets another single to tie the game at 6s. And then fortunately for the Reds, they got out of a bases loaded jam there with 2 outs with the ground out to Matt McLain, who made a good play, by the way. Matt McLain made a solid play right there to get out of the inning, something we don't even really think about because he made the play. But if he doesn't make that play, who knows where this game goes? Yeah.
No, that's good. So, yeah, Brendan Donovan being 4 for 8, I think explains why you took him out at that point. He had never faked Victor Scott or Jimmy Crooks. So, yeah, you get the 2 strikeouts, take him out for Brendan Donovan, who was 4 for 8. It just didn't go your way. I mean, Tony Santillan's been your high leverage guy basically all year, the guy that you turn to at the top of the lineup. Didn't work out today, but I'm not going to second guess that kind of a decision. But to your point, Cowboy talking about the idea of pinch hitting when the stats are very clear that Graham Ashcraft has revert splits against right-handed batters. I don't know. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I always wonder too, like what's the sample size where you feel really good about a matchup too, right? Like, I mean, I guess like 4 for 8's not bad, but also is like 4 for 8, like is 4 for 8 enough to where you feel like really devoted to the fact that you should not absolutely go after this guy with Graham Ashcraft because he's 4 for 8? If that's the case, Craig, I got news for you. Maybe we should stop pitching to guys like Christian Yelich when he comes to town. I'm just a thought, you know. I mean, if we really want to use sample sizes to our advantage, maybe when we have a base open with Christian Yelich up, like we just walk him from now on. That's where I would go personally. I have no problem using some data to try to make informed decisions, no doubt about it. But if we're going to do that, then let's consistently do that. That's all I would ask for. But again, it's easy hindsight to say, why did you take Graham Ashcraft out? Because Santillan didn't get the job done. If Santillan gets the guy out, you're going to say, well, that was a good move. He was 4 for 8 against Graham Ashcraft. Santillan came in. He did his job. You boom, 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 you move on. Santillan didn't do it, so now you can question why the hell you take Graham Ashcraft out. So I get it. I'm not going to get overly crazy about it. I'm just saying it was a decision made in a game that could have made an impact, but ultimately it didn't matter. You know why it didn't matter? Because we scored runs. Isn't that nice? It's kind of like it just it masks all of these things up. We're not sitting here debating all of these minute details on a 2-1 game about who should have done what or why they didn't do that. You know what? You go out and score. It kind of helps solve a lot of those problems that we think are bigger problems when we only score 2 runs.
Yeah, I mean, it only hit 1 ball out of the ballpark, but it felt like there were a million hard-hit balls in this game. I didn't actually look at Savant to know exactly what the number was tonight, but definitely felt like Reds hitters were hitting the ball hard over and over again. Yeah, I mean, if you sort by exit velo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 of the 12 hardest hit balls tonight were by Reds, and they were all 102 miles an hour or harder. So definitely a lot of hard hit balls by the Reds tonight. I think the final number ended up being 18 hard hit balls for the Reds. I mean, that's a pretty solid number. Now, a lot of those came off of Liberatore, who hasn't had the best year. But the Reds haven't been great as right-handed batters against left-handed pitchers either. So for them to be able to do that tonight, I think is a good step. But yeah, I mean, you had so many hard hit balls. Hayes had 3, Stewart had 3, Stevenson had 3, McLean had 3. McLean's a guy who I wanted to mention during this game too. I mean, he had a really nice game in this one. And, you know, you mentioned his play defensively, but 2 for 5 with a double and 2 RBIs, scored twice. Nice to see him have a decent game. And yeah, this Reds offense certainly felt like it was clicking tonight. It would have been nice if the pitching matched up, but they did enough. And we're not gonna turn down an 11-6 win at any point.
No, it just showcases how, you know, the baseball games more or less are won on you know, situational kind of at bats and whether or not you get the big hit or you don't get the big hit, right? Are you able to hit home runs that produce multiple run innings, or are you not? The Reds tonight, for all intents and purposes, they out hit the Cardinals, but it wasn't by like a landslide, if we're being completely honest. You know, the expected batting average for the Reds tonight, 309. Expected batting average for the St. Louis Cardinals was 252. Now, again, there's a decent delta there. I'm not here to say that there's not, but there's also been games where you find yourself losing when you've almost out expected batting average by someone by 125 points at times. So we'll see. I mean, ultimately, the Reds, they found a way to score some runs. It's nice to see, especially when you have guys like Stewart and, you know, I guess Marte back in the mix again. Marte, another good sign, a guy that, you know, not to say that he was starting to kind of worry me, but he certainly was cooled off from the guy that kind of was carrying this team on his back for a certain amount of time. And we'll see how he finishes the year, because let's face it, we need all the positives we can get. I'm not going to buy the front office this year telling me that that's the plan moving forward, is just all of these guys are going to get better in the offseason and we're going to run them out there and we're going to sing Kumbaya in 2026. But I would like to see at least a lot of these guys finish the year strong to make me a little optimistic as we head in the offseason. But bullpen-wise, I guess, yeah, the other question is you bring Emilio Pagan in when the game's kind of out of reach, but I guess at this point it is what it is. You got to get some reps in. You can't just continue to, you know, say that these guys can't throw and rest them, and then all of a sudden they hadn't pitched in a week and you put them in a one-run game, Craig, and you expect them to be nails. So I can't be overly upset about it either.
Yeah, he hadn't pitched since San Diego. His last outing was on September 9th, so he had gone almost a week without pitching. It's probably the right moment to, I know obviously they were going to put him in even if it wasn't a 5-run game, but at that point he had already gotten up and warmed up, hadn't pitched in a week. You might as well let him get some low leverage outs and make sure that he's ready for you when you need him. It feels like Emilio Pagan went like 3 weeks pitching every single day, and then over the last couple of weeks, it felt like he's barely pitched at all. So, you know, we're halfway through the month of September and he's only pitched 5 times. So I don't think that there's any issue really getting him reps at this point, but you know, Tito has talked in the past about how once he gets a guy up in the bullpen, he doesn't like to sit him back down and get him up and down and all those things. So rather than get somebody else up and get them warm, just throw him out there. You've still got Zach Maxwell in there for a high leverage outing if you need it tomorrow. Maybe Santillan's still available. He threw 15 pitches tonight. But obviously Pagan, low leverage, nice easy inning, and only threw 10 pitches. So he should be available tomorrow still after not pitching for a week.
Yeah, and the Reds are in a spot where they're going to have to sweep this series. I just don't see any scenario where they don't sweep this series and they find a way to get themselves in a position in the last week to have a chance. It sucks. That's where we're at this point as Reds fans. We have to play perfect baseball here on out. But you know what? Tonight was perfect. You win. Doesn't matter how you win, but it was a nice win. 11-6. You almost double them up. And hopefully you can head into tomorrow and you can find ways to score the same type of amount of runs. Now, again, 11, that's probably more than, we can bargain for more times than not. But the truth is that I feel like that's the missing link here that we've not had all year. And I know people are going to say, well, that's because they don't have good enough players, Trace. Their lineup's not good enough. That might be true. But at least I can say I don't really feel like there's been one time this year where the offense has just been absolutely on fire and they have carried this team for a week and a half. And if there was ever a time to do it, and now is the time. And if they don't do it, then it is what it is. Coffin nails, bam, 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 as they say in football. So, we'll find out. But I also want to say 988, it is a resource. Obviously, all of us in the chat typically know about, but in case you don't know, it's a place that you can turn to if you are in a crisis 24/7. It's an anonymous hotline, 988. You can text and or call. That is 988. You can also visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay to not be okay. This is the part of the show where probably I should ask questions on the before I even get on the airwaves, but that's the raw nature of the show. I'm open man enough to admit that I probably should know this and I don't know this. I have no clue if we are doing the Omaha Steak ad read, so when in doubt, I'm going to do it anyways. That's how I'm going to roll. I'll give you more bang for your buck. They might not even be paying for this. They might be paying for this. I have no idea, but I do know that Omaha Steaks right now has a red hot sale event. You can get 50% off in the entire site wide. Plus, check this out. You get an extra $35 off by using the code Chatterbox. That's CHATTERBOX. That's if your order gets to be $159 or more, you can use the code Chatterbox, CHATTERBOX, and you can get yourself some steaks, some sirloin, some perhaps you should get you some, sausage, throw on the old grill there in the fall as you watch perhaps the Reds play meaningful baseball. Hell, heaven forbid we make it to October. But if not, you know who's going to be playing? The Cincinnati Bengals. You might enjoy them. Or maybe you just like watching the NFL in general or some college football. Maybe you're a Buckeye fan and you need a place to tailgate. Take Omaha Steaks with you on the road or perhaps at home. No matter where, they're going to be delicious. You can visit, again, omahasteaks.com. Use the code Chatterbox, CHATTERBOX, and you can get $35 off your purchase. Plus, right now there is a red hot sale, 50% off. Craig,
you can do what I did, Trace. I went
me.
last night after I heard you guys give the promo for the first time.
Yes.
I went and I built my own premier protein assortment. Got to build my own little combo package. I got bacon wrap filet mignon, chicken breasts, steak burgers, bacon, steak tips, jumbo franks, seasonings.
Wow.
Built my own little package. I got the 50% off. I got an extra 35% off. And it's supposed to be here by Wednesday.
I kind of like what you're putting down, Craig. Some bacon wrap. Did you say
to the checkout?
Bacon wrapped what?
Yep. Bacon wrap filet mignon, Trace. And that doesn't even count the additional 2 pounds of bacon that I got as part of the deal too. So yeah, I'm pumped up. It's supposed to be here on Wednesday. So I'm hoping for some good weather. I'll be grilling out later this week or this weekend. Maybe I'll have some friends over for a little Omaha Steaks grill out. But
yeah.
It's super easy when you get to the checkout. When you get to the checkout where you put your card in, just click I have a promo code and enter Chatterbox and boom, $35 off.
Love it.
Just like that.
I love Jim too. He throws in there, keep the dry ice away from your pets. Don't ask why I know this. So that's yeah, dry ice. Not fun. Dry ice is not fun if you find yourself on the wrong side of some dry ice. I can tell you that right now. So
you know what will be though? What will be fun though, Trace?
Oh, look at that segue from the main man, Craig Samlin, the king of kings for the segues. Chatterbox Bengals live from Smoke Justice Sunday, September 21st. I think that's going to be the day that Jake Browning breaks out. 12:30 to 5. You can check out Chatterbox Bengals. It's got a pregame, halftime, postgame analysis, all at Smoke Justice. Come down there, hang out, get you some good old bourbon, get you some smoked meat. whatever it is that you enjoy, you can head on down to Smoke Justice. That's 302 Court Street in Covington, Kentucky. So shout out to Chatterbox Bengals, Craig, Reed, Stone. I think Andrew's been in there. Mike's been in there. We got a whole assortment of folks that are obviously trying to provide some Bengals coverage, so check them out. Season's in full swing. We'll get into it. I don't want to get too far into the well because I think I'm going to go to I'll be on OP2B tomorrow, so I don't want to give too many of my hot takes. But I think the Bengals are in an okay spot. You know, the sky's not falling. It's not falling. You know, you're 2-0. You're 2-0 for the first time in a long time, and you know what? You can find a way to win a couple more games. Joe Burrow comes back, and all is well in the world again. And it'll be fresh too. I mean, yeah, I know that he's got the toe thing, but he'll be fresh. So we'll see.
Yep. And JJ McCarthy ruled out today, so it'll be the battle of the backups.
That's actually bad news. That's bad news.
Jake Browning going against Carson Wentz. So
I think I'd have rather faced it. I would have rather faced JJ McCarthy personally. Yet another.
Everybody tune into Off the Bench tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. to hear Trace and Reed break down the matchup with the Vikings.
All right. We have more of Reds MILB. Craig, I don't know where we're at in the season at this point for Reds MILB, but we got to be getting down to where there's just not a whole lot of baseball left. Let's be honest. You can let me know where we're at. There's
not a whole lot of baseball left.
Craig.
There is not.
Take it away.
What? In fact, there is almost no baseball left. Louisville starts their last series of the season. They host Nashville starting Tuesday, 6:35 p.m. Chattanooga, they're into the Southern League Division Series. Game 1 takes place Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in Birmingham. That's a best-of-3 series. And then Daytona and Lakeland. Lakeland leads the series 1-0 in the Florida State League Championship Series. Game number 2 is Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Once these seasons are done, they're all done. Then we turn our attention to fall ball. So cheer on the Reds minor league teams and see if we can't bring home a couple championships here before it's all said and done.
Yeah, listen, it was getting pretty bad earlier this year about some Reds MILB. Had some really, really, really poor records, and they all kind of turned it around. Started playing a little bit better in the back half. So we'll see if the Reds can't take that same MO and ride off into maybe what would be the most glorious sunset of all time if they found a way to sneak in as the third wild card spot, despite really just not even being relevant for most of the year. We'll find out. Reds back to 500. That is a positive, and we do have some more baseball along the way, and we need to win them all, Craig. Little who, what, when, where, and why.
We do need to win them all. Tomorrow, Reds and Cardinals back at it. Tuesday night, 7:45 p.m., first pitch Eastern time. Andrew Abbott will take the mound for the Reds. He's 9-6 on the year with a 2.79 ERA. Last time out was a beauty. He pitched at San Diego, 8 innings, 5 hits, only 1 earned run. Walked 2, struck out 6. The only run he gave up was a solo home run by Fernando Tatis Jr. in the 5th inning. Reds won that game 2-1. He's made 8 career starts against the Cardinals. He's 4-3 with 3.74 ERA. This will be the 4th time that Abbott faces the Cardinals this season. Reds are 2-1 in those games. Abbott, 16 innings pitched, 10 hits, only 3 earned runs. Last time out was August 30th. Reds took the loss. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs. He walked 4 plus hit another batter, struck out 7 in a 4-2 Reds loss. Active Cardinals hitters against Abbott, obviously a lot. Brendan Donovan's 3 for 13. Wilson Contreras 3 for 11. Lars Nootbaar 1 for 10. Jordan Walker is 0 for 10. Alec Burleson 0 for 9. Nolan Gorman 1 for 7. Ivan Herrera 3 for 5. Pedro Pajes is 1 for 5. So JC 1 for 4. Home runs by Wilson Contreras and Nolan Gorman. On the other side, Michael McGreevy takes the ball for the Cardinals, 6-3 with a 4.44 ERA. Did I say that right? 3 4s? 4.44.
You figured it out.
Close enough. McGreevy has struggled at home this season. He's 2-3 with a 6.07 ERA in 8 games, allowing 6 of his 8 home runs on the season at Busch. McGreevy doesn't strike out many batters. In fact, he's in the 3rd percentile in the MLB in K%. However, he balances that by not allowing free base runners. Walking batters at just a rate of 3.6%, good for the 99th percentile in Major League Baseball. McGreevy's last time out, September 10th against Seattle, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 4 Ks. Of course, that one was in Seattle. His last home start before that, September 5th against San Francisco, 4 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. McGreevy faced the Reds once earlier this season. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, no strikeouts, and a 4-2 Cardinals win. Reds batters, Miguel Andujar's 2 for 3 with a double. Elly De La Cruz 1 for 3. Gavin Lux 1 for 2 with a double, a walk, and an RBI. Noelvi Marte is 1 for 3. Friedel, Cabrian Hayes, Steer, McLean, and Trevino all hitless. McGreevy, one of those pitchers that just throws a little bit of everything. 7 different pitches. Throws his 4-seamer, sinker, sweeper, curveball, cutter, and changeup. Fastball averages just 93 miles per hour.
All right. Well, we'll find out if we're capable of taking our ace, I guess, is if some would call him that. Maybe some wouldn't call him that. I don't know. Hunter Green's obviously very, very good as well. And I know people now are going to be like, well, he wasn't so good in Sacramento. Okay, I get it. He's not perfect. But another good opportunity for the Reds to find a way to win. And you know what? They win tomorrow. What's that mean? It gives them a chance to do what they have to do the following day, which is find a way to take care of business against the St. Louis Cardinals. And we'll see at this point if the Reds can do something special. I'm not, as I said before, I don't have a ton of hope, but I will say that there is at least some chance. And let's face it, I don't know whether or not we would have signed up for it or not, but I kind of think we would. If you'd have told us at the All-Star break we'd be a couple games back with, 2 weeks to play, seems like we probably would maybe have signed up for that. I don't know. But nonetheless, let's face it, the reason we feel so sour about it is because we let a huge opportunity slip away. I mean, there was right in front of us. We had a chance to just grab the bull by the horns, and we just didn't do that. But no reason to sit here and continue to cry about it. You got to wake up tomorrow and find a way to win. We'll see if we can do that. Finally, before we head out of here, I just want to tell everybody thank you so much for being so loyal and consistent viewers of this show. And the reality is we always have just so many loyal kind of, I guess, regulars, whatever term you guys want to use, nut cutters up in the chat. And, it's nice to see. And it's very, very, very kind of like encouraging to continue to try to do this on a night in, night out basis when there's no doubt that we're all, to a certain extent, burnt out a little bit here as we kind of wind down the season, especially when it's not gone the way that we have hoped. But who knows, man? Maybe the only thing that seems like a poetic way for this whole thing to end is it's either going to crash and burn or they're going to find a way to win a postseason series for the first time since 1995 or whenever the hell it was. I don't even remember. But it seems like one of two things are going to happen. I don't know. We might not be 500 by the end of the year, or we might find a way to rattle off 12 in a row, go to the postseason, and do something crazy. Who knows? But we shall find out.
Well,
just want to say thank you one more time. Craig, got anything before we go?
I'll just say, obviously, the Reds are going to have to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching over the next 2 weeks. Only one game on Monday of note that matters to the Reds. Diamondbacks, they take a 7-1 lead into the 7th inning there in Arizona over the San Francisco Giants. Big series there in the desert. Those are two teams that the Reds are trailing behind right now in the wild card. And if you take a look at the wild card schedule, this is up-to-date standings. Reds currently 2 games behind the New York Mets for that last spot, but they have the D-backs and Giants between them. Mets have the Padres, Washington Nationals, Cubs, and the Marlins. Giants are currently at Arizona. Then they go to the Dodgers before ending with St. Louis and Colorado. D-backs obviously currently with the Giants, and then they get Philadelphia, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Tough stretch there to end their season. And of course, the Reds currently 2 games back. They have 2 games left in St. Louis before they have the Cubs at home for a 4-game series, Pittsburgh for a 3-game series, and then end in Milwaukee for a pivotal 3-game series.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. And it's just seemingly crazy to think that we're at 500.
Crazy to say.
500. 500. There was a time this year where I thought it was going to take like 88 wins, 89 wins to get into that third wild card spot. And the Mets have absolutely just completely fallen apart, man. I mean, That's the real storyline in this whole thing, is how bad the Mets have played. But you know what? We don't really care how we get it. We just find a way to get in and we move on. So, all right, folks, appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow, of course, back better than ever, hopefully in the 9th inning to watch another Reds victory. Until then, take care of yourselves, get a good night's sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.